Okay, we're going to start it up and take it for a test drive. So I'm going to take off the cover.
Oh, I get in.
All right, look, I'm going to start it.
Oh, hot ground. Hot ground, Grandpa.
All right, we're ready to go. Here we go.
Bye, Grandpa.
He left. He went around the corner. I hear him coming back. Here he comes. Here he comes.
Okay, Grandma gets a turn. She's putting in the seat. The gas is on the right, brake on the left. Okay, Kendall, come here. No, it'll spring back. Just step on the gas, and when you want to slow down, let up. Here she goes. This will be good. You got to step on it. Step on it. There you go. There she goes. Hopefully she won't run into anything. Watch out for Grandma. She might be a crazy driver.
If she does, I'll make sure we get that on tape.
Yeah, here she comes. Here she comes.
Grandma, if you run into something, I'll make sure you get that on tape.
Grandma's doing good.
We're gonna make sure.
There she is. She's doing all right.
She's doing all right for now.
Okay, go over there in the grass so I can get you in the picture. There's Michaela. Go around one more time. Come on, go around one more time. All right, you girls come over here. Go over there in the yard. Come over here. Stand out there so I can film you with the car. Drive by the girls. There's Michaela. There's Kendall. They're chasing Grandma. Catch him! All right, Grandma did good, huh? All right.
My hands are vibrating.
All right, that was pretty good. All right, I'm going to push the Cyclekart out. We're going to start it up and go Go for a ride. Okay, so now I'm going to take the cover off so I can start it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the gas is on.
Oh, the sweet
Turn on the
little
switch.
pig. Little pig,
And it'll
little
start.
pig, little pig.
Choke it. Ride it and then I'll give you a ride. Alright, ready? I'll be right back. Here we go.
That's Kendall going on a ride with Grandpa.
Did you record that? Hello.
Here they come. Here comes Kendall and Grandpa. Whee!
They're coming off too. They're coming. They're coming off.
Okay, now it's Michaela's turn.
Alright, Michaela's turn.
Okay, now it's Michaela and Grandpa.
How you doing? I'm Dennis Thomas, and this is my Cyclekart. I test drove it today for the first time, and it went pretty good. And I thought I'd start doing some videos. I've been taking pictures since the end of February. I started working on it. Now it's August 13th, 2012 right now. So on photobucket.com, I've got about 170 pictures of the build of this thing. The album is D. Thomas 1925. So you'll find a bunch of photographs during the build. But right now I want to show you how this rear cover comes apart. I'm going to make 2 or 3 videos here to kind of show you the whole cart. So when it's time to start the cart, I loosen these Zeus fittings here, a little half twist. I like these because you don't need a screwdriver. It's just like kind of has like a wing nut. So then this comes off like so. So I can get to the start and pull start here, and I can get to the switch, an off switch, and the fuel and the chokes in there. And then this cover, I'm gonna put some flashing in here and some resin and fiberglass to stiffen that up. This is just light plywood epoxied in, and I'll fiberglass that to get it strong. But that works pretty good. So I'll put that back on, and then I'll show you how it comes apart. We'll half twist and then lock. Okay, so now if I want to do some more serious work to it, I can take off this whole cover. So I flip the seat forward, and I take out the screw, and then this cover just pops off, lift it up, comes right off. So, exposes everything. You can see the inside, just kind of rough now, but I'll fix that up pretty good. And then it's just foam. So I'll show you that in more detail. So I want to put it back on, and just slip it over the engine and down on these little clips. And then it's on, and I put the screw back in, and I'm ready to go. So that'll be that video for now, and I'll show you some more in a minute. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you the running gear. So, pop this cover off. There's the drivetrain. I'll show you in more detail what's going on there. Okay, so got the Honda GX200. A pretty good little motor. I like some of the features. It's started up right away out of the box, put gas and oil in it, fired right up. So one thing I like about it is the way the carburetor's set up. It's got, right here is this is the fuel on off, and then this is the choke. So that's a pretty good arrangement. Better than your average lawnmower, that's for sure. And then this comes off. And you've seen the throttle set up in some other videos, but this is already here on the engine, so it gives you a place to put the cable. This is a nut that I drilled a hole through to clamp the cable. Kind of a no money spent on that part. And then you've already seen this, but I'll show it again. Here's the little bracket and spring to the muffler housing there. And then show you a good detail of the torque converter. Now this was a pretty good little deal. It cost me, I think, $219 plus freight. And then it bolted right on. There's several bolt configurations for different angles, so it wasn't too hard to figure out. And then you can see the chain down in there. So that's a number 14 chain. And it goes to a 72 tooth sprocket and a 1-inch axle. And boy, on the test drive, I didn't even get it up to full speed. It has a lot of torque and it really gets up and moves. So pretty good configuration from a standpoint of performance, I think. Here's the disc brake setup. So the caliper floats. Here's the caliper. And it floats in this bracket, and that bracket's bolted on. And then the disc is in there. And there's the adjustment. So I got it adjusted pretty tight. Just a slight amount of pressure on the pedal. There you can see the rod. And it stopped the cart. You know, I was pleasantly surprised how that worked. The frame is 1x3 thin wall tubing. Then I had to raise the engine up a little bit to get the angle right, so I put some tubing together, welded together, and put a 1/4-inch plate. And then the nuts and bolts, they're nylock nuts, so that thing's pretty stout. I don't think it's going anywhere. Here's a view of the rear hub, bolted on through the Honda wheel. And this is the driven side, so it's got the keyway in there, and a little nut to tighten her down. And then I'll show you the bearing here. These are pretty nice. They're machined pretty slick, and the axle fits in there good, and it floats, and I think that's going to hold up well. Those came from a Sousa along with the hubs, so I'm happy with that deal. And then here you can see where I bolted it on, and there's the 1-inch axle in there with a nylock nut. That won't be going anywhere. I got the Honda rims from a local motorcycle boneyard. They cost me $25 a piece, and then I bead blasted them. And then later, when I paint it up, I think I'll powder coat them. The tires I got from JP Cycles, I think it was, about $23 a piece. They're 275 17s, which I like because they got a nice thick stance, on them. So the frame comes up here to the front. Got this little crossbar that ties it all together. And then there's your leaf springs. They go to, a horse and buggy seat. And they have decent amount of spring to them. And then the front axle, that's 1.5-inch tubing. They were out of 1 5/8 at the steel yard, so I used 1.5 and 0.95 wall. And then I made the little brackets for the, and then the U-bolts I got at Ace. So they seem to be all right. And then I took it on a test drive, and the wheels were out of alignment, so I worked on getting those lined up. And then so I've got the 3 degrees of camber, but I've got this red mark here. If the axle moves on me, I'll know it, but ultimately I'm going to move the axle towards the rear, the top towards the rear, and that'll give me a couple degrees of caster. So that should help with the steering. The steering's a little tight right now, but I think that's because everything's new. And then here's the steering wheel. That's from a Sousa. It's a 12-inch go-kart wheel. And then I'm gonna take the cover off here in the next video and show you the foot controls. So that'll do it for this video. Okay, in this video I'm going to show you more about what's under the cover and the setup in there. Let me just take off the top cover here. Set that aside. And camera here. Alright. So, here's how the exhaust system works. So those are flexible 90-degree elbows. They're for stoves or dryer vents, but I got it at Ace Hardware, and there's 2 of them put together, so you can rotate it around and really get it to go into any configuration you want. And that worked out pretty good, because then I could go right down the middle of the back. I didn't want a muffler hanging out, so this works out nice. It's not actually attached to the engine. It just directs the gas flow. So when the cover comes off, it comes off. And I thought about making, welding a pipe, which some guys have done. That would work real nice. But I actually got this idea from Steve Cameron. He was talking about it on one of the videos of his Cyclekarts. So I said, I think I'll try that. So then I couldn't figure out how to mount it, so I come up with a clamp and hammered out some little brackets, and it's nice and stiff, it's in there pretty good. And during the test drive, this compartment didn't get too warm, or even the lid above. This pipe got hot, but it's not touching anything, and you expect that. But that was nice, so I was pleasantly surprised. But I think I'll still put some flashing on the lid. And then, so right down in there, there's the pull starter. And then right down in here is the fuel valve and the choke. And then if take this off, set it aside. You can see the throttle cable right there is coming up. And then right here, this is all part of the setup, so it was already there, and I rigged up the nut. And then over here is the return spring. So you can see I made a little bracket right there, bolted it to the muffler housing, and got a spring. And there's also a spring up in the front here. I'll show you this in more detail later, but there's the throttle arrangement. So you've got that spring plus the one at the engine, and it snaps right back, no problem. I worried a lot about how this throttle would hook up, but it was one of the easier things to do, surprisingly. The kit comes from Northern Tool for all that up front. So, and then down in here, it's a little tight, but there's enough room. You can see the disc brake down in there, and there's the torque converter. Alright, and then here's the Zeus fitting, in one of the rear. And you can see in here how they come through. There's another one up here. So that makes for a quick disconnect, and I like these because you don't need a screwdriver, no tool in your pocket. Just give it a little half twist. And then this is balsa strips that I can shape and sand, and then I'll ultimately Bondo that and fiberglass it with some resin, and it'll paint it up real nice. Okay, that should be enough for this video, and then I'll show you more about the other stuff. Okay. And in this video, I'm going to take off the top cover here and show you the foot controls and tell you about the body. So I take off the leather straps. And I've got some screws in here. Take the cover off. So this cover here, that is 3/8 bending plywood. We use it on a cabinet builder, so we use it to do radius work, and I shaped it over these plywood forms that you cut out with a bandsaw, and then put a little water on it and left it overnight, and it kind of took on that shape. So that's a pretty good deal. Now let me show you the inner workings of the foot controls. Okay, so first off, here's the steering rod. It's pretty crude under there. I'm going to work on that, maybe with some little metal bracket. And then I've got a little bracket in there that's bent to the right angle, and then held on with these bolts. And those are nylock nuts. Okay, now this is the brake pedal arrangement. So you can see, if you're familiar with the foot controls from a Sousa, well, it's a little different than this. I cut it and I put in a curved piece. So I raised it up and moved it forward, and it seems to work pretty good. I don't have much travel in the brake pedal, but that's okay. Only light pressure. And then I've got a return spring, and then I weld it on this tab, and then these brackets kind of keep the rod, and there it goes under the seat. So I think I'm going to have to add a spine here to beef that up. In case you really stomp on it, that'd probably bend. And then this is some rectangle stock that I bolted through. This is the shackle coming through over here. It's not part of the brake. It's the front suspension. So let me go around the other side here and I'll show you the throttle setup. You know, I sweated this throttle, but in the final analysis, it was one of the easier things. You know, these components here, this comes from Northern Tool. Now this is part of a rectangle tube that I cut, and they have a little instruction sheet that shows you this. And here's the return spring, and this is a bracket that holds the cable. And then, you know, it's just like the brake pedal. I extended it and gave it some height and some reach. And, you know, it just pops right back. It's got a spring on both ends. So I was pretty happy with the way that turned out. And in the test drive, it worked great. So can't complain there. Now the wood body, you know, being a cabinet builder by trade, you know, I didn't have too much trouble building the wood part, but basically the sides are 1/4 inch, the top is 3/8, that's the radius part, and that continues back here, 1/4 inch. The top is all foam. I put this balsa over the top of the foam to give it some strength, and then I could sand it to shape, and I'm going to fiberglass it all. And then the sides here are really, there's the 1/4 inch, and then I added 3/4, because people put their hand here, you know, to get in and out of the cart, so that might add a little weight, but it surely strengthened the cockpit. And then this is, this little cowl here that's bending ply also, and I'm going to putty that, and I'm going to sand it and flare it real nice, and I'll put a little windshield here out of some acrylic. And then the dashboard, that's a piece of foam in there right now, but I'm going to ultimately cover that all up. And then I'm going to have to rig up some kind of quick disconnect for the steering wheel, so because it certainly gets in the way getting in and out. So that's basically the body. Underneath here to give it some shape, that's all foam. And then I don't know if it's going to show on the finished car, but that's supposed to look like the oil pan to an engine. So we'll see. And then the grill, let me push this back. There we go. The grill is bending plywood also to create the shape. And then this is you know, from our metal supplier here in town. This is a decorative grate. So you can buy it in like I think it's a 2x4 sheet. This is just a little piece of rubber to keep it from rattling around right now. But that'll get painted, and then it'll end up looking pretty good when it's all done, I think. So that's the basic cart. And oh, the seat. Yeah, one more thing, the seat. So I spent more time on this darn seat than just about anything trying to figure out how I wanted to do it. But basically the back will come off, you know, and the cover will wrap around and staple on. It'll probably be held on with Velcro. But, you know, for people with long legs, they can leave the back out. And then, so if I take the back out, put it over here. There's the back. And then the bottom comes out. So there's the bottom. And then I've got this plywood riser under here so the cables can go underneath. And so I've been working on 3 different covers. I got an upholstery buddy who can sew up a cover, so there's 3 different kind of styles of what I'm thinking. Use something in color that'll match the belt. I'm kind of leaning towards this one here, but I haven't made up my mind yet. So, all right, so I'll have other videos coming as I continue to work on it, but that's a good start for now.